My conversation today on Behind the Act is with Robert Moroni. He's a director, a writer, and a musician. And today we're talking about being present and enjoying the process, and how embracing the latest technology can give us more time doing what we do best as artists, and how showing up with fewer expectations can help us interfere less in the process and add more truth to our art in both film and music. I'm Seth Schaefer. This is Behind the Act with Robert Moroni. Give me a quick glimpse of who you've been, where you come from, and how people know you now.
Sure. So my name is Rob. I am a director here in Nashville. I direct music videos and fun narrative projects with my brother and associated friends. I got my start in Denver playing live music in a rock band that I still play and record music with. So with my brother Mike, who was in the previous episode.
What's the name of that band?
The name of that band is Veretta.
And what kind of music do you guys play?
Rock music.
Yeah, unquestionably rock.
Unquestionably rock. It's like, damn. So we always say like Queens of the Stone Age, Nirvana, Radiohead, Circa Survive. It's so interesting though. It's like as the band continues and as Mike continues to write more and more music, it's like I just start to see like his influences kind of 4D, into themselves, because you start off like sounding vaguely like the people that you're kind of going for. And then somewhere along the way, it just turns into a totally different animal. Right. But no, getting to see the stage that he's in now it's so sick. If I had this one that he's recording right now, I would have brought it, but it doesn't exist yet. But it's so good. So what does he do? What do you do in the band? So it's pretty much like a collaboration, but for the most part, it's like generally Mike's project, and I help and. I'm a good sounding board, and
you both play, both sing,
both play guitar, both sing, cool. Throw in lead lines and stuff. Sometimes I'll have like some song constructed, and I'll throw in a lead line. And he's like, "That's the whole song. That's the whole." I'm like, I just showed up, and I get to take credit for everything. But
I love it. What are your current fears creatively and existentially?
Let's start off on something light,
simple stuff. Yep.
Man, my current fears existentially or creatively, I don't really think I have anything that's like dogging me right now. The worst that I could think is just like being so disconnected from the art or whatever that something happens that isn't genuine. But I have too much fun doing everything now. I've kind of reached a point in my life where I can't not do something that I don't vibe with or isn't like fun. I've stopped doing things that aren't fun. I'll put it that way. So the reverse of your question.
Perfect.
And I feel like that's put me in a much better place.
Okay, so that I think lends well into the next idea or question. What would you tell your younger self, specifically, let's say like the freshman or sophomore in high school version of yourself?
Man, I mean, do everything now is a good one. Do everything quickly. Actually, it's funny. I wrote out like a 10 commandments for myself to follow, just like personal. Like if I'd brought that or remembered any of them, that's why I wrote them down. But one of them emphasizes doing things quickly, or not letting things like sit for too long, because I mean the magic kind of dies out. But then also just like holding myself accountable to something. It's like I think one of them is actually do what you say, or do what you say you're going to do. And then another one is like not like waiting too long or whatever. It's like got to act in the moment, because that's when it's like so fresh and, you get very excited about it.
Yeah, that song that I shared with you is a year old, and it took me a while for it to come back around. And last night I was like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling this, and I need to dive in. I need to keep it alive. Cause
sometimes you got to send them to college, and then they come back, and then you can have a better conversation. But yeah,
right. I love that. How do you want people to describe you when you're not around?
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. I would add on to that, but okay. So there was like I think it's Harry Dean Stanton. Was that his name? The actor. He's like having an interview with David Lynch, and he asked him a similar question. And I think he said something similar, like, it doesn't matter, whatever. He's like, how would you describe the self or yourself? And he's like, nothing. There is no self. And I'm like, this dude gets it, you know? Like, there's only so many things you really need to worry about in life, and I feel like 0% of them have to do with anything outside of yourself.
Yeah.
Or if you do, I mean, I'm not going to pretend that, you know, I don't, or that's something that it's not, you know, floating in my mind. But the less I think about that, the happier I am, and the more I actually live in reality, because odds are people probably aren't thinking about you at all. They're thinking about them and what people think of them.
Yep.
So it's like, I don't know. You can choose to live in a simulacrum that doesn't actually exist that you're creating, or you can live in real life.
Yep.
So I really don't think about those kinds of things.
And the
anymore.
truth is that the other people's judgment that you put in the story in your heads is really your judgment through the characters you've built in your head.
And it communicates what you think of yourself when you meet that person.
Yep.
And then they're like,
yeah,
oh my God.
Which is why I'm filled with self-doubt. But
that's good. No, keep shooting that out to people.
No, it's true. It's true. And I'm just working through it a little piece at a time and trying to be open and public about it, because that's helpful, I think. You know.
Hell yeah.
So how do you define success for you right now? And if you were to, you know, express what you think it looks like in the future, really, what are your goals?
Right.
You know,
right.
How do those relate?
Man, I've actually thought about this lately. It's like, it feels like I'm back in high school again. Like when I was in high school with my brother, we were just like bummed out because we were just like, man, everybody's doing the I want to be popular game or whatever. It's like, I need to get at it. It's a good how should I say, structure to kind of build a rock band within, because you have something to fight against.
Yeah.
So that really helped. But I feel as if since that high school kid, like I've grown up and now I'm living in a world where it just feels like I'm in high school again, where everybody wants to be popular and everybody wants to, like, nobody's really focused on if they're like the work, so to speak. They're not really focused on if anything that they're doing is even worth sharing. You know, they're already sharing. They're oversharing. Like, I feel like no matter what I do, I want it to be good first.
Interesting. I love that. I love that. But I also think, just a challenge. I mean, you're, by the way, you're doing a great job of actually completing stuff that's great, and it looks awesome.
Oh, thank you.
But there's also, I think, a mechanism in that thinking that can help people be stuck and not release because their stuff isn't as good as yours.
Because they are,
you know, and they feel like they're not worthy. And
sounds like a personal problem to me.
Yeah. Well,
you're saying that like people hold themselves to these ideas of like what is good or not, and if it doesn't match that, then they don't. Yeah, that's.
I mean, so the oversharing, saying that, just saying those words, can make people feel guilty for oversharing, which I
don't know, good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so where does your judgment come from on that then? I'm curious.
For me, I like to retract a lot. I mean, like, I love attention.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm smiling. I love. There's cameras surrounding me. I love this. I love this kind of setup. But I feel like and this is just like the culture that I feel like we're in right now.
Yeah. People
are encouraged to share before they have the thought first. You know, they're encouraged to share before, like, somebody should be living their life, and then if they post a photo, it should be like, you know, me enjoying my life, not posting the photo first and then living the life around the posting of the thing. The posting should be something that happens after, if at all.
Yep.
I feel like the more people are encouraged to share of themselves, it actually makes me want to retract even more and even more and even more. Because it just feels like, why give away so many pieces of yourself?
Yeah.
You know, why?
If there feels like there's an obligation to show up and do social media that the world expects, quote unquote, of everyone, if you care at all, quote unquote, about being able, being known or part of society, right? Like, I'm not saying that that's correct. I'm just saying that that I feel like there's a conversation.
But this is where it happens, where half of everybody's gonna, fully integrate into machines, and then the other half is gonna, the new Luddite movement is gonna, we're all gonna go back to farms and stuff. But yeah, no, So wait, what was your question?
That's just more of a comment that I feel like I agree with you, but I don't want that agreeing with you to be perceived as me casting guilt on other people, nor do I think that you're doing that.
Perceive. No. Let's make some bold statements. Let's let some people be offended.
That's hilarious. I mean, and I'm fine with that. I'm interested in where your perspective is on stuff. My point is more, I think that on one end, there are people that don't want to share, that feel pressured to do it. I feel like I'm in that camp more. And I'm not good at staying consistent at posting by myself, at least, without an external mechanism.
Sure.
And I have also made a lot of calculations about what am I posting and what's the value of what I'm posting. Because if I'm posting to post, then it's not helping the world, nor me. I don't even enjoy the process of posting the stuff. So
posting is very annoying. That's why we hire
terrible.
people to do it for us.
Right. And then at that point, you're hiring someone to be your friend's friend, right? Like in a weird way.
Oh, just like, I call these are this is just marketing.
I know.
Like go ahead and,
Yep. No, and that's where we're at too, is, I mean, I feel like the content that comes out of this conversation and all of the conversations I've had thus far has been really healthy, good content that I'm excited to share with the world. And I think it's just, there's a very honest, helpful, truthful positivity that comes through the message. That's how I feel. We're not promoting or trying to sell anything. It's just
my new single actually is coming out at
making the world a better place through your single. Tell me about it. Just kidding. No.
And I do make it kind of sound like a bad thing. I do feel like we're going a little bit overboard, but I mean, like, this is totally, this technology is new, so everybody's gonna spill out first, and then the wave will kind of recede back, and then it'll go back again. But in this moment that we are at now, feels like too much. I do love the technology, though. I think that there's like a lot of opportunity. I was talking to Mike. One of the things we do for fun is a non-believer Bible club, and it's a podcast where Mike reads the Bible front to back, like every word of it, and then like he'll just like comment in real time, like, "Oh, that's weird," and like yada yada yada, and just like as a non-believer to kind of like open it up and kind of talk about like this ancient text that is the foundation of all of our world literature. Like it's fascinating. But we talk about, like, what is the use of this, or what is this technology almost kind of gives us the opportunity to like make our own like history channel, for example.
Yeah.
Like, because you have the channels and you have like the outlets and stuff, and you're encouraged to like, post all the time, but it's like, you can really just make your own kind of like TV show at this point.
Yep.
For good or for ill, depends, I guess,
right,
what your subject material and how you're handling it is. But I love the idea that like you can create your own kind of like TV show or your own kind of channel, like.
And in the same way that like some people aren't going to want to listen to that podcast, and other people are going to be highly entertained, I promise, because I think it's hilarious when I listen to it. And I mean, sorry, hilarious and thoughtful and educational. I mean, it's a great. I enjoy it, but
no, too much History Channel when I was a kid. That's
there you go. But I guess my point is that to counter a little bit of like the oversharing side of it, it's like the new world of social media allows for people to tune into what they want and what they don't want. Now, there are algorithms that are trying to counter that, of course, but the point is like, if I don't want to follow your channel, I don't follow you, or I hide you, right? Sure. Like, and other people can do that with me too. So I don't have to feel guilty like I would used to feel if I was taking up one of the three main TV or television stations or something with your show. Like, I'm taking up this time.
But it's like, you're not going to really step on anybody's foot either.
Yeah, because it's available, but doesn't have to be forced.
And the more you are, the more you'll kind of carve out your own separate niche, where people will just come to that for that.
Yeah,
not because...
if they like it, and you're also not. I mean, like with the podcast, I've told every friend, I believe, like, don't feel pressure to listen to it. Like, if you happen to like it, awesome.
I call up all my friends. I'm like, have you heard the next episode?
Yeah,
like, sure. I'm looking at the views. I know you didn't see it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, but to me, it's like, I don't want to be just another media source that's unhelpful to people, and then they feel obligated to listen unless they want to. It's that kind of a thing. It's like, like, that's not going to help me to have 30 more people. I mean, trust me, like I want more people to listen to it, but having 30 more people, especially if they're doing it out of like obligation, that's not helpful, right? So it's like I want, you know, a lot higher numbers from people that organically find it and enjoy it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it was Joss Whedon who said this, because he's since had a very public fall from grace.
Okay.
Just from the way he treats people. He wrote and created Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, Firefly, like shows that I like grew up watching. Mm-hmm. What was the quote that he said? He said, "I'd rather have like 1,000 people that love my, or I'd rather have 100 people that love my show than 1,000 people that like my show."
Yeah,
and I'm like, and this is like before any of that kind of like social media stuff, and I'm just like, dude, that kind of nails it, you know?
It really does. Yeah, and that's the fruit too of, I mean, like the people you're working with for your music videos. You have the people that are just in love with working with you and want to work with you, and those are your best customers, not people that like your stuff. It's a new relationship. It's a little bit loose. Like you're gonna just, as you grow further and further into it, like you're just gonna have those people that really love working with you, and you're like, this is a no-brainer. They value what you do. You don't have to go through any of the awkward juggles of how you work or how they work. Like,
100%.
you know, like,
yeah,
it's cool. That makes sense. I mean, that's from a following standpoint, but I think it goes to clients as well, you know, in any business or whatever.
Yeah, or just like whatever you're putting out.
Yeah.
Whatever wavelength that you're putting out, people will pick up on that.
Yeah.
They'll want to be a part of that if that resonates with them or not.
Yeah.
But so much easier to just do that, because it's like then you're, you know, the well that you're drawing from isn't something you have to keep like filling up or recharging, or like if you're getting like burnt out, it's probably because you have unhealthy relationships.
Okay, so let's go back into that part of the conversation that we had before and you alluded to earlier as well. You're not doing what you don't want to be doing. You know, hashtag you're not working with assholes, or you're not working with people that you don't want to work with.
Well, I don't think I've ever truly worked with like an asshole.
Right. Oh, well, that's good. You must be getting started.
Or maybe I'm very kind.
No,
I see too much of people and I'm like, you're having a bad day.
No, for sure. No, I guess my point is you are picking and choosing what you're doing, and it's stuff that seems like is bringing you joy, right? Yeah. I guess speak more to what made you make that more of a conscious decision day to day.
I mean, moving into like a new city, new town, whatever, and this is like a couple years ago, but pre-quarantine, so it's been more than a couple years at this point. But it was like 2020 that I really started picking up all of like the film video stuff, which is fun because like my brother and I have been like writing since like we were kids, and we were doing like home videos of like films and stuff that we wrote together and stuff. So I mean, it's really just like now that I'm an adult, I'm like, I could like do all this stuff for real now. So there's always been an element of that there. But when you start something new, it's like you have to open yourself up to the world, so to speak, and you gotta, you know, find whatever opportunities are out there. And then, you know, it's not just I mean, it's like you learn more things, you know, yourself and about yourself, and you start to kind of like hone that process, or I've found that I've honed that process the longer I've been doing it. It's like, maybe I don't need to be doing that, or maybe I need to be doing more of this.
Yeah.
Or this doesn't make me feel dope, or this makes me feel more uncomfortable. I should lean into this more, you know. I'm growing the most doing this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's really, just that, being open to that, but also not, this is great podcast fodder, but as they say, not confusing motion for progress, you know, because you could be very busy and be accomplishing nothing in terms of like where you see yourself in the long term or what you want to know.
Unpack that a little bit more for me. You said emotion versus progress, right?
Motion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That
so
makes more
like,
sense.
It's like running in place. It's like, I'm working really hard.
That's funny. I was like, emotion versus progress. I'm interested, but I'm not immediately connected. Motion versus progress makes sense to me. Yes.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. You can do that.
Right. What's your, what sets you apart for what you're doing? Like, in other words, what is your artistic being that the people that are hiring you
My artistic being.
enjoy?
I feel like my superpower when it comes to filming has been to shoot things as they are instead of trying to put them in a box. Sometimes that can work, sometimes it cannot. If somebody's trying to be something or trying to be something like, constructed, it might come across. But like I'm most interested in like truth. So it's like,
Yes.
yeah. It's like, well, it's like, it's the easiest, and I get the best shit from, those real interactions, those real moments,
Yeah.
like, oh no, we don't have this set, or, we didn't get, this room booked at the, whatever. It's like, oh, now, there's always something that could potentially go wrong.
Right.
It's like, now we're in this totally different space, and now we're having like a real moment that we're both sharing together, like, this is way better than if we would have gotten the other place or something,
And it translates so much too on the other end.
Yeah.
I try not to over plan my scenes when I'm out filming.
It can't be phony,
Right. Yeah.
And the book stops, with me, right? I'm the one filming it, right? So if it looks like, strange or something, or if something isn't quite captured the way I want it to, it's pretty much my fault.
Right.
So
where are you focusing right now on your personal growth?
Personal
or personal versus artistic. Like I'm just saying, like as you're going, and like what's your momentary like thing? You're like, yeah, I'm gonna get better at this.
I'm trying to wake up at 5. Has not happened. Well, I'll tune in on episode 100. I'll let you know if I lock that in or not.
What time are you going to bed then? Well, what time are you planning on going to bed if you're waking up at 5 consistently?
I never go to bed.
Yeah,
I'm always up. How will I describe it? So lately I've been, I like doing a lot of things, and I have a lot of interests, and that keep me up at night. But lately I've been looking at Benjamin Franklin's whole schedule. And like, dude had it locked down. Like he would go from like 5 a.m. he wakes up. He takes 3 hours to like before he starts work, which is great because like I notice anytime that I get up, it takes like about that time for me to actually start getting going with anything. Yes. And then it's like 5 a.m. to 8 is like breakfast, and he would take air showers, or he would just be naked and let his skin wake up first and shit. Okay. I'm like, dude, this guy's like a genius.
Yeah.
And then it's really like the 2 4-hour blocks with the 2-hour lunch in between. Mm-hmm. That takes him to 6 p.m. Then 6 to 10, leisure and hanging out with friends and thinking about the day, and then back to bed. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, what's cool about I'll say one of the drawbacks of doing like a lot of independent kind of work where you're your own boss is like, when am I working and when am I hanging out?
Yeah.
Or, when am I productive and when do I just need to like, watch a movie or something,
right,
or take my mind off it. It just kind of starts to like blur. So I'm like having more regimented time to do things. Like I may not actually achieve any of those things, or hit any of those like 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., whatever. And even he said, like, it's like, do I follow my own schedule? It's like, it's impossible. I can never follow it. Because it's like impossible throughout the day. So many things are like happening in the day. But if you keep in mind like what more or less you should be doing, like you can always correct. And you can always like come back.
I was going to ask how... let me say this. My perception of both you and your brother is that you have a reasonable amount of discipline and a lot of ability to follow through. But I was curious with such a structured thing, and you starting off with saying, I haven't done that yet. I was just curious about the discipline aspect because, well, I used to wake up at 4:45 every day and loved it. And when I say used to, I did that for a while. So, but then I had kids, and the kids also wake up at 4:45, and I can't stay focused. But the reason that I did it was I had that magical 3, 4, 5 hours sometimes of like, no one bothers me,
like wake up, get a workout, make your breakfast,
or I'll do
sit quiet in silence.
Yes, meditate. I didn't know how to do that at all then. I didn't understand it is really what it was. But but yes, that process is great. But I've since shifted to more generally late night. But then I sleep. I do my best to try to sleep 8 to 9 hours every night because
God bless you.
Because I realize how important that is. But that takes, if I'm staying up late, it requires me to be able to sleep until 10 or 11. right? Like, which is a very late schedule, but that allows me to have.
But
that balance
you can correct, and you can.
Well, but that's what I'm doing. Like, and I've been doing that right now. For 6 months or so. Like, I was like very committed though. Like, this is my wake up schedule. Then I can have the work time, and then I can get the boys from the bus stop. Then we can do our family time, and then they go to bed, and then I do more work schedule stuff, and then
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
yeah,
That's the way to do it, man.
well, and at some point, I'm excited to get back into. Maybe once they get closer to teenage years and want to sleep in more, I'll go back to 5.
Sleep in more and then stay up all night.
Yeah,
and then I'll just turn into a kid again.
No. Well, they are, and then no. I mean, I loved going to bed early and like going to bed at 9 or 10, and like
I love that
waking up
now.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen a lot, but I do.
Well, there you go. So, have you listened much to like Matt Walker stuff for sleep? He does a very good job of communicating and emphasizing the importance of sleep on how effective you are on those other days. Like, so much so that it motivated me to go, okay, dang it, I need to really focus on trying to get this 8 hours of real sleep.
Yeah.
You know, because I lived lots of my life on 4 hours. You know, but anyway,
No,
that's not good.
That's why you brew your own coffee. I'm drinking the coffee now. I don't know how many other guests get the premium home roasted coffee, but pretty good.
That's awesome.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Now you can plug your coffee brand.
Yes, my coffee, Schaefer and Sons. It's a coffee brand that's not real, but it's a
You have more than one son.
It's like my yeah. I'll show you the brand of it. Actually, I have a little stamp that I
do you?
because I wanted to learn how to use a laser cutter and put that onto a piece of wood. And
That's it.
but anyway, I'm not actually selling it and don't intend to ever.
No, get them buzzing about it in the comments.
Yeah,
You're making
exactly.
coffee.
Exactly. I'll do a run of like 15 bags and
Yeah.
and I'm just tired. I'm gonna focus back on music and film. But okay, so well, do you feel like you are a leader and encourager of other artists to help champion their art, or are you more involved in that by just doing your best job and hoping that they also get inspired?
I don't know. I mean, like, I try to lead myself, and I hope that's enough of a thing to. I don't know. I mean, when I first moved here, I lived with Chase in a house together.
That's where we met. Yeah.
That's where we met, and literally, I'd have these. I'd get like real like amped up at like midnight. I still do. Yeah. And I'd be like just shoving everybody in the house, like, come on, what's your $1 million idea? What's your $1 million idea? You know, like, let's all start businesses like right now and stuff. Like, I get weary of not being in motion or not, because like I see like a lot of people kind of like fall off or kind of half commit. I'm like, gotta be a winner all the time. Tribe Called Quest. Gotta be a winner all the time. Can't fall prey to a hip hop crime. I'm gonna regret that. That was lame. But
No,
not a born rapper, but the wisdom. You gotta be a winner all the time. I love that. I say that like every day because it's like true. You gotta be, you know, you don't gotta fake it or be like, you know, I'm a winner. You know, it's just like a mentality of like, you know, committing to the moment.
yeah. So where does that? What are you anxious of not? Or I'm putting the word anxious in there. What are you afraid?
Why are you
of
so
not
anxious?
happening? Like, in other words, what drives you? Because like today, you're already busy. You're crushing it. You got a music video shoot right after this, and you're still like, yeah, I'll show up and do a podcast. You know, like, what do you? Why not? I mean, I'm happy that you're doing it, but I'm just curious. Is it just that continual motion that you're like, well, all of these things are doing something?
Well, I do this pain in the ass thing where normally I would want to stay inside and watch anime, but I hit everybody up and we all agreed to the times to do it. So I guess I have to, you know,
Committing.
No. I mean, like I enjoy what I do. You know, I'd be doing this like any other. This just happens to be the week that I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, today or this week or whatever. But like and that kind of goes back to the where we started the conversation. But I try to do things that make it worth me getting up in the morning, where my day is like enriched because I do these things and I genuinely enjoy doing them.
Yeah,
and they make me better at my art and how I express myself and, you know, the people around me. It's really interesting. It's like when I was in Denver, I noticed that it's harder to sell like your band because it's like, this is my, art, please, listen or whatever.
Yeah.
They give you a bunch of pre-sale tickets and you end up feeling like a fucking hustler trying to like, get people to shows and stuff. And sometimes that can kind of like, it can wear on you. But like, then they show up to the show and they have a good time and, it's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I feel like it was like worth it. But when you do something like, directing or filming music videos, you're providing like a huge service, a billable service. But it's like so much easier almost to like make connections and talk to people when you're bringing something of extreme value to them.
Absolutely.
And that switch was extremely interesting to me because I hadn't really directly encountered and benefited from that.
So just to be clear for my own understanding of what you just said, you're attaching Denver to being the music side and Nashville to being the video production side in that
in
comparison,
the endeavors that I've put like the most weight into.
So Denver is not necessarily the culture of the town. It's more that when you were trying to get people to your show, right? Is that what you're saying?
Well,
or both?
Okay, so it's like anybody who's ever ask any one of our friends that's from Colorado, when you're in a limited market and venues are trying to, they give you your pre-sale tickets and then you basically end up just having like a list of people that you just like hit up every month. And you just kind of feel like a two-bit gangster. Where's my money for the pre-sales? I'll meet you over here or something. Right. It's like, it's kind of annoying. And it feels like kind of like a backwards way. Well, I mean, and the social media wasn't as developed, so it's like you had to do everything in person.
Yeah.
Now somebody can blow up on TikTok.
What's different about here?
What's different about here? Well, I would also say that the culture is very forgiving and it's very creative and very artistic. Nobody feels like you're stealing from their pie. When you're in a limited market, it can feel like that.
Yeah.
Which I kind of miss. Because I like the rivalry, kind of. Well, not the rivalry. It's not like, everybody in Denver was like, we all supported each other. We all loved each other. But, it's also like being alongside your brothers and sisters, You could like shove and get in fights and, And I like that, it's a little more... That's a little more encouraging to me. But here, what I do like about kind of having everybody kind of be in the same spot is it's like, yo, well... this is my pie recipe. Why don't you try this slice or whatever? It's like, oh, this is sick. I put, this in my pie. And, there's like more of an exchange on that kind of.
Yeah.
But like, that's like the market here. And, everybody's always like songwriting and like nobody's stepping on toes, so to speak. I like that a lot.
I haven't witnessed that either. I've been very encouraged by just the positivity and the excitement and the encouragement and the willingness to show up and collaborate and and just the kindness. It's like, I love it.
Bunch of kind motherfuckers out here.
Yeah,
fuck these guys.
Yeah, that's how I put it every time too. But.
Kind motherfuckers.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
So, if I didn't ask,
great coffee. I'm gonna be,
dude.
It's already happening. I'll be looking through and like every like Twitch.
I hope not. I think it's pretty chill. Like my coffee's pretty.
Not the way I drink it.
That's so funny. It's not terribly strong and or caffeinated, which is what I like about it, and it makes me feel like I can. Well, I probably drink too many cups of it a day, but it's also if I drink too many cups of other coffee a day, like other coffee shops, it wrecks me. I'm like, I get that caffeine high and I'm like, oh, this is terrible.
I brew it ridiculously strong.
Do you? Yeah.
Love it.
That's awesome.
I can only handle like, I make like this much in a mug and it's just like, it's intense. That'll keep me up the rest of the day.
Okay. Yeah. No. And I'm like, I'd rather have like 2 of these 16-ounce cups of, of like weak coffee that I'm enjoying the flavor.
For sure.
Don't tell anybody that, though. It's a secret.
The brand isn't live yet.
Right. That's just a brand.
Everything's a brand.
You're going to start, you're going to launch a Schaefer and Sons coffee thing and be like, hey, I've got orders for you.
As long as they get free coffee for life or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll contribute.
What I want to get into a little bit of what problems do you feel like you're solving for artists and what consistent feedback are you getting as an artist that comes from what they were maybe worried about not going right, and then you're like,
I feel like I have like two different answers for this.
yeah, pick only one though. Just kidding.
Ooh. Well, it's interesting that you phrase it like that. Like, what problem are you solving? Because I feel like really what I give to, or what I see people in this kind of like market give to people is like the opportunity for people to tell their own stories, because like they don't have the ability to like direct themselves and set up the camera and do all of the stuff, and then it's like impossible.
Yeah.
Like up until like last year, Mike and I were like finally in another music video together, because like I can't just like film, and there's like the two twins and shit, and I was like, fuck yeah, this is cool. We're like getting but yeah, I mean, really, where I see it being like really helpful is like being able to be in front of telling their story, or like feeling like they can kind of communicate what they're trying to like whatever their audience is, I guess.
Yeah. I see your art as something that is on another level than just a check mark. So what I mean by that is, a lot of people say, well, now we need a music video and we need, an ISBN number. I'm just kidding. But, like people are like, I need these things to release my thing.
Right.
And your quality / style / taste feels to me like it's more of a commitment than we just need a music video, so just shoot something. And I guess that's more my question is like, why are the artists that are picking you seeing the value that you bring, and how do you perceive that value that you do bring?
I mean, that's up to them. They probably see something like, well, this is cool as shit. Yeah, we'll hit this dude up. But like, I mean, for me, I'll say what I try to do is, again, what I said before, I want to make something that's like good first, that like, if the song sucked, if the artist sucked, if I sucked, no matter what thing we're trying to, or hurdle we're trying to overcome, it's like the thing has to be good. It has to be like watchable. And I feel like that, that's like everything that I try to do.
What's
really
good then? So is because like I just for people that haven't seen your work, I want to say you have an aesthetic that seems to be, I'm going to say, kind of consistent. I mean that in a good way. Not like
it's not like that sounds good so far.
No, it is. Well, I mean, what I mean is, I'm not trying to say that you are not able to be diverse in the way that you're approaching stuff, but you have a style and it's cool. And so like there's definitely a quality level from an imagery standpoint that is what I perceive as higher or more artful than a lot of other choices. But the reason I'm saying,
I appreciate
the reason I'm saying that is what do you consider to be quote unquote good about a music video though? Like there's the image quality, and then what else though?
It has to hold my attention. It has to hold my attention. Like where I really come alive is like in the edit. Thanks for saying all those nice things, by the way.
Yeah,
that's very very kind.
I mean it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, it has to hold my attention. It has to be fun. I want it to feel like a roller coaster, kind of, But it's like, don't reuse scenes to the point where I feel like I've seen the whole video. It's like, if somebody's going to take the leap to click play, you want to like reward them for their time, not punish them for, that's like being in a local band and your band sucks and you still invite people to shows. And you're like, you're going to inconvenience people to come out from they could have been hanging out watching Dexter all night. And now they got to come out here to see you suck in front of 7 people, like that sounds like a bummer. I think of it from like that perspective. I want, and again, I say that I come alive in like the editing. I love chopping things up, and I love like that part. It makes total sense to me. And man, I just love like putting together images and getting from like the one thing to the next, and like really timing everything to like the music, because like I want to feel like the edit is speaking to the song too.
Yeah,
because it's like I feel like sometimes people kind of disconnect from the music that they're playing. Like I want to feel like you're in it,
right?
And whenever I do like live sessions with bands, I did one with Chase, which was very fun, and some other artists that aren't released, but like I always try to like make you feel like you're in the band, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe this is all just like my perspective for like what I'm used to, but I'm like, I don't want to just like see people playing. I want to feel like I just did that fill, you know?
Yeah.
I want to feel like I hear like a lead line. I better see somebody doing that lead line, you know?
Right.
Or if it's just like a music video, it needs to like, I need to feel like, again, like that kind of roller coaster kind of vibe where it's like I'm intrigued like the entire time. And that's also kind of like a movie thing where I'm like, you know, this is the beginning of the movie. You know, this is like you feel like that kind of like 3-act kind of structure maybe like come into play because it's like, see any movie, you know, you have like a lead character, a lead artist. You don't get like tired of seeing that person. You want to see them like go through things, and you want to see, you know, it's not the person changes, you know, hopefully morally or whatever. There's some kind of story or whatever. So it's like intriguing, but you want to see things happen, you know, the context around them is what changes.
Right.
And like, that's kind of what I try to do. Make it as movie-like as possible.
Yeah. And really, I mean, you're saying don't have that like bad band with 7 people version of a music video, asking people to watch it out of obligation, but instead make art that people
rewards them
are
you know?
thrilled, because they want to watch it, not because they're your friend, right? Or I love that. How do you decide when to share what you share?
When?
When
it's done?
And if.
I feel like there's only like 2 or 3 things that I didn't like that I've done.
Okay.
Everything else gets put up.
How often do you create with an openness to just to not
never
even,
open. I'm never open
to not even have like to not worry about success or failure. Do you ever just show up to go, I'm going to just start creating something and see what happens without like, I've got a vision for what it's going to be and completing?
I mean, I feel like you need to have that all the time.
Okay.
So it's like that idea of like, being in the moment and like, let me see what happens. Like, that's what happens like every scene, every time you press record, that's happening in real time. Whether it aligns with whatever you planned, it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, it's like having a script or a structure, like they're just made up things that make people comfortable enough to feel like we're going to do that. Like it's got to be whatever it's going to be no matter what.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like as much as you can come out ahead of that, sure. You know, whatever makes people feel a little extra safe, sure. But, you know, we're not safe. We're never safe. You got to be doing that all the time. And you got to be ready for, you know, because like it'll start talking to you. And then if you don't listen to it, you know, you're putting yourself in front of the art.
I feel like you are a technically proficient, capable, driven human that is also had to have gone through risks and failure to get to where you're at.
Sure.
And like with my songs, I am currently trying to create music that moves me, that I'm excited about, and success and failure is becoming further away from my goal every time I start to create something with it, because it's not, of course, functionally not away from my goal. I want it to be something that other people enjoy and something that, you know, it has financial potential or whatever. But the goal is not success or failure when I start them, at least, because I'm not good enough at doing that process to guarantee that it's going to be great every time.
Yeah.
And I find it to be muting to the quality when I start to filter it through the perception of the final viewer instead of just engage in the art as I'm making it. So I'm curious. Yeah.
No, I mean, and this kind of comes into like, you know, pretty much everything we've been talking about up to this point. But like at this point, I'm not convinced that success and failure exist in terms that we understand them. Like if you made the thing, you're successful. If the thing, I mean, like, who knows? It'll be a meme in 2040 or something and blow the fuck up. Like you never fucking know.
Yeah.
The more I think about the future, the more like even the way people consume information, like computers are already thinking faster than people. Like when we fully maximize the potential of machines, of the human brain to absorb information, they'll look at these Instagram posts that we're making now, like they're like cave paintings, and they'll be able to just like, I don't know if it'll become part of like a curriculum or something where it's like everybody, we're going to download, 2000 to like 2000, or 2020 or something. And we're going to download this block, or we're going to do like 2020 to 2030 or whatever. And then, okay, cool. I just got the whole internet because I'm able to process like so much information.
Right.
Like, I feel like the most important thing you can do is put the thing out, because like it will be remembered and it will be, preserved, like almost in amber, in the digital marketplace. Whether you're alive to enjoy it or not, like who fucking cares? Like, go make as much shit as possible. You know,
what's good enough, quote unquote, right? What is good enough for someone to post? Because we started off the conversation with people are posting too much.
Sure,
they're posting without thought, which I agree with. Like the oversharing all the time pointlessly is not necessarily helpful for the world or for you. But then there's also the like, I'm afraid that it's not good enough, so I just don't share anything. Like, where's that tipping point at whatever phase someone is in their process?
Damn. I think that, because it's like, how much am I thinking about it that it becomes something that I'm thinking too much about it, that I don't like, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, damn, none of that shit matters, man. None of it's real. Like, even just like the way that we have conversations about this shit is already wrong, Like, none of this exists.
Right.
None of this is, like, as far as like, okay, is this good enough to like post or not? Just like post it. It's like what I try to be aware of is like the narrative that is created by me creating something.
Yeah.
Like if there's anything that like truly pisses me off, like it's people that try to self-mythologize, and like do like the long, like you ever see like a band bio? It's like, and they met in high school, and then unfortunately Trevor left the band, and then he had to be replaced. I'm like, I don't even give a shit about you guys. Why are you like telling me your like life fucking like story? Like, we don't need to, like, some people are just so afraid of being in control of their own narrative. And it's like, it's important to a point. All of these things sound so contradictory. I'm going to try to make it make sense.
That's the fun of this.
Well, it's just, there's...
We'll see if it's good enough.
Well, there's
post,
there you go. No, post it no matter what.
I'm totally kidding.
Post it no matter what.
If it's good enough.
Yeah, sure.
I'm teasing.
Good. Well, have you been listening to me? This shit doesn't exist. This is a simulacrum. I'm having more fun talking to you in this moment than I'll ever give a shit about looking at a clip or whatever.
Of course, yeah.
Leave that for the future generations to make any sense out of. But okay, then I'll pose it this way. No matter what you do, a narrative is being created by yourself, by the way that you do things. I try to remove as much of myself as possible because I'm not interested in myself. Then you cut back to like, oh, I love attention. Yeah. Like, I'm not interested in myself coming through the art as much as I am in like capturing what I call truth. So that's like, the nature of things where like, I feel like if you're putting yourself too much in the way, then it's going to just shine through you. And then that's what's going to, and the truth will be, obfuscated.
Yeah.
Have you ever met somebody who can't get out of their own way?
Yeah, me. Yeah.
It's like, the more you retract, I feel like the more that you're, conscious of like, what you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm annoyed by people who don't have like the self-awareness to be able to like control what they share. And I understand where it comes from. We all want to reach out and we all want to feel, understood by people. And especially when that comes through in our art or whatever. But what I'm aiming for, whether I achieve it or not, is to present things close to the truth as possible. So that means, the way I see it, unless it's like, this is my film and like I want people to see me, and if that's the intention, sure. But like I feel like I want to remove as much as I can of myself, because like what's going to come through is, what is, and then people can enjoy. They can see something captured, So like, because it will be there. It's like when I first started filming, I thought, if I ran up with the camera and like got in like, everybody's face and like moved around a lot, I was like, then they'll understand, how I feel about it. Cause I'm like, I get so excited. Even when I talk, like I forget to breathe and I just like, I'm very passionate about these things, but, I realized that there was like way more power in just being like still, because then it's like the person can focus on it and they're not seeing, you know, what I'm trying to make them see or how I'm trying to make them feel. They'll feel that if I just stay put, you know, and I take command of the image or control the image or whatever. Then it's like, this is what it's at. The artist is good to do whatever they're good to do.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if I'm shooting like a narrative, you know, block it off here. Dude's like walking through, like something's happening, you know? And it's like, that's the gift, you know, that's the gold.
Yeah.
That we always call it giggling over the gold. When we have something good, you know, and you're in the edit window and you're looking through everything, it's like don't spoil your own treasure by like trying to get in the way of it, you know?
Right.
You could, it's paleontology, you know? You don't grab a jackhammer and try like, we're going to get this dinosaur out, you know? It'll be bits, you know?
Right. Yeah.
You got to like patiently and quietly, you know, you get that motherfucker out.
Right.
But, you know, don't destroy it in the process.
I'm hearing you say what you focus on, and this is, I think, true for anyone who has success in output, obviously, is showing up and doing the work and consistently showing up to do the work and enjoying the process of doing the work. I will say you've acknowledged it, and it appears to me, because of how curated and well done the output is of what you do, that you do care about how nice it looks when you're when it's finished, and that, like, the, you know, the finished product, of course, is what you're kind of going for, and it feels good and whatever. But then you turn around quickly and show up to the next thing to stay present, to continue to create, and I think that's notable. And not to summarize everything you said in a different way, but that, I think, is where the success comes from, is the showing up every day to continue to improve. That's how I feel about all of the things that I've shared with you that I would say are, you know, the objective truth, or even like possibility of there being any connection to success or not on those things, is irrelevant to me. It's that they're timestamps of moments that I've gone through after learning something new and attempting something new. And if it's whether, you know, yesterday was a bunch of music business registration stuff, and then, you know, today is a podcast and a song that I'm trying to get mixed before I move the studio starting tomorrow, right? So
why are you so busy, dude?
I'm not busy. I'm just chilling. I mean, had to roast coffee earlier. That was good.
It is
like
good.
17 references to the coffee roasting.
Dude, yeah. If nothing happens with that, with all this like free promo that I'm giving you, man, I'm gonna be a little disappointed. But
it's gonna be like, I'm gonna have to have a filter on the email that's like, no, I don't do it. I don't.
No worries.
No, I'm just teasing. That's awesome. Well, dude, thank you. I appreciate this. Anything else? Any last words?
Any last words?
Yeah. I wanted to make it awkward, and you helped. It was awesome.
Oh, dude. Well, you ever watch like Craig Ferguson? He always makes a... you know Craig Ferguson?
I know the name.
He did like late night. He's like a TV show host.
Right.
Irish.
It's funny.
It's fucking like brilliant. Or Scottish.
Yeah.
Or Irish. Oh, fuck. I'm going to hate myself for that.
It's so funny.
This dude is great. He ends every interview by saying awkward pause or mouth organ. And mouth organ is like, you know, harmonica. So it's like, ooh, harmonica. And then they go...
That's so
they do
funny.
awkward pause. They just sit
amazing
in terrible silence.
That is so funny.
Let's do an awkward pause.
I love it. Okay.
No, it's too comfortable.
Yeah.
I had a question that I'm glad I just remembered. But as far as like podcasts go, how long do you think that this podcast medium is gonna exist? Because like it's pretty new. And like we have the technology now. We just like pump them out really quick. Have conversations. Two assholes can pontificate about whatever for like hours. And
I mean, I think it has to do with how long it retains. Well, let me first off say, I don't know. I'm far from an expert in podcasting, period. And I'm new to the whole scenario. The value that I think podcasting brings to people is that it is the opposite version of, let me post a bunch of shots of cakes and flowers and my face driving down the road and a random thought and reposting a funny meme. It's long, thoughtful conversations that people are allowed to be part of as listeners of your conversation with me today. Like this is great, I think, healthy content that people can be less quick dopamine, subject shift over and over and over and over and over. They can stay focused for 2 hours. So it's like almost like meditation that people can do while they're driving or they're working or they're traveling or whatever. And I think that there's something really healthy if it's done, at least the way I'm hoping this podcast communicates, is that people feel welcomed into a conversation, and not throwing a bunch of like ads at them and a bunch of like subject shifts and a bunch of like more aggravating political or religious or hateful.
We didn't even touch any of that stuff.
I know. Shucks. Just kidding.
Any last minute plugs?
Yeah, exactly. I just feel like so much content out there by mechanism is divisive and is attempting to hook people, and is doing a good job of hooking people and also fracturing society in ways that are unhelpful to both sides, whatever that is, if it's both sides of religion, both sides of politics, both sides of nationalism. It's like not helping the world be a better place by making people more angry and fearful of something that they don't understand. So to me, like this type of conversation, talking about more personal, honest views and feels is like really good. That's a long way to say that I hope and think that the idea of the podcast will carry on for a long time, because I think it's healthy for people. If they are going to be consuming something, it could be conversation, even if they're a listener in the room, over a bunch of streaming, scrolling, short clips on whatever platform that is. Now, it could be later it's in the metaverse on VR glasses or something, and maybe later it's, something else. But I think that the mechanism for the human brain is healthy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we still, people have like speaking tours, they have book tours and stuff. You know? Jordan Peterson's like gonna probably sell at like a stadium here in a minute if it didn't already happen. But it's like there's nothing. I don't think we found a better method of communication past conversation. Yeah. So I guess to answer my own question, I guess. Yeah, I mean, like as far as like podcasting and like whatever, I like this. I like the being able to have a conversation, because then you can also just kind of see two individuals and hopefully get some kind of like idea of like how they organize their thoughts or how they comport themselves or whatever. Yeah. And that's just like fascinating, being able to like see two people kind of people watch themselves while being filmed. Yep. It's like there's like 7 different layers of watching these things.
And what I also don't want it to ever be for me is an obligation. Like, in other words, I don't ever want my conversation to be because I'm obligated to.
Are you obligated to feed your kids?
Well, fair. But, my point is the intention is I want it to be very vulnerable and real. And I want to continue. I want to listen and show up 100% every time, and be able to do that. And whatever 100% is for me that day, But like,
no, next generation, like they're listening to more longer form content because they were just born in this, like, it's all our generation that loves the TikToks and like, it's like 5 seconds and stuff. Yeah.
Hate it.
No, I feel like people are gravitating more towards things longer form. Yeah. Conversational type stuff. So best of wishes. I hope the long and prosperous podcast.
We'll see. All I can do is create it. We'll see what happens. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing with other people you think might gain value from it.